like I get into everything really late. Because ASMR was like a pretty big phenomenon like a few years ago. And I was like, oh, that's so dumb. That's like so internet. Like all these like dumb people like getting off on like people blowing bubbles and stuff. And like I'm now really, really into ASMR. Like it started off with this guy called the French Whisperer. And he's like a French guy that tells stories. And like he polishes like silverware.
That sounds so much like and actually, you know what? I'll make that joke in a minute because it has to do with what I was going to say anyway. So.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say that sounds so much like a sex toy. The French Whisperer. I'm sorry, but
it's literally weird because it does make me a little bit horny because it relaxes you, and then he like polishes. That's what I was going to say. He polishes the silverware in this way that is quite suggestive. So I
think that with ASMR, so you have the explanation of it is that there are certain people who respond to it. In the back of their head, there's like a tingling or some shit that like some people get like an oral pleasure from it. However, I think that it is literally just like people get horny for somebody acting intimate.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's just that. I think it's also like stuff that reminds you of like ways that your parents would care for you, like just general fuss, like scratching. Scratching on.
I mean, if you're weird,
I guess. But like the scratching, it's like the scratching of the head. And like, you know, those little things, and then the sounds as well, like hearing tea bag go into a cup is calming because it's like when you're getting ready to settle down for the night, and like condensing down all of those cozy things into like one thing creates a very like pleasurable audio experience. Or maybe I'm just one of those weird people. I'm not sure yet.
Hearing you talk about something being an interesting audio experience is fucking weird because whenever I show you anything, you're like, I don't know, babe, I've got ears like a peasant, so that makes like sounds.
You're pedantic because of Jake's job. He'll show me, he'll show me all this.
That impression.
That doesn't sound like me. I'm offended.
That was spot on.
It was not spot on.
Such like an over exaggeration, though.
No, because
really funny.
You'll like you'll be like, he'll show me like the same track and he'll be like, which one sounds better, this one or that one? And I'll be like, I can't hear the difference between any of that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Look, I'm not showing you subtle nuances of compression. I will show you like quite an obvious thing and you'll be like, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't ask me, babe. I'm not the one. I'm not the one.
Why have you made me sound like an English housewife?
Because that's what you're like when you're in a fussy mood.
Wow, thank you. Well, yeah, I feel like...
That's the voice your character resembles.
Oh my God, shush, I'm being bullied. You guys should try it. Like, get really stoned and listen to ASMR. The other videos that I've been getting into have been like crushing videos where like they put stuff under like a hydraulic press and then just like crush it.
Yeah.
And they put like cans under there. They put like...
You do get into things really late.
I do. Peter's like, where have you been, Angie?
That was like 2008.
I didn't realize that was a genre of video, but it's so fascinating and it feels good. I don't know if it's like a sadistic thing or what it is, but it just feels...
It like liquefies like very solid things and it's very weird to watch.
Yeah, it just like fucking crushes it. It just crushes all the juices. Like someone put a mango under there and I was surprised at just how much juice you can get out of one mango. It's like, it's seriously fucking fascinating.
You want one for our kitchen?
I do.
You want a fresh mnemonic? How would you even say that as a doing word? I don't even know.
What?
Like pneumatically pressed. Hydraulically pressed.
What is mnemonic?
Hydraulically pressed mango juice.
I don't know.
What is mnemonic?
I don't know what a mnemonic is. It's like probably from a video game or something.
Oh my
Mnemonic
God.
is the word you're speaking of, and I don't know what it means off the top of my head.
I do want a hydraulic press.
No idea.
I do want a hydraulic press for my kitchen. It would make stuff so much easier Like you could just like crack an egg just with like a little bit of pressure. You could like pulverize like potatoes and stuff. It'd be so cool.
I don't know why you would crack an egg with it. That's such like you can crack an egg by sneezing. Like it's like you don't need hydraulic press for that shit.
You'd just be interested.
The weirdest one you've shown me so far has been all these like weird. It's like they're grey balls, but they're sort of clay. And then inside the grey balls, it's multicolored, lovely, like plasticine or clay sort of substancey, but it's more stretchy than clay. I don't know. But you hear all the cracking of this hard clay on the outside as you crush the balls, and then you see all this lovely color on the inside. And Andrew's just like, Jake, do you find this satisfying? And then I came and like saw these weird videos of these little fucking nugs getting crushed. I'm just like, I need to take the joint away from you, sweetheart. Oh dear.
No, it is the crunching sound. It reminds me of Christmas. It reminds me of like those nice little chocolates that you get in the shops that have like the hard shell on the outside. Like there is something very satisfying.
M&Ms.
No, the other ones that have the marshmallow. The ones that have the marshmallow inside, and it's this layer of chocolate, and it's on a biscuit.
Tea cakes.
Yeah, the tea cakes.
Oh, it does kind of make a tea cake sound when you bite into the tea cakes.
Yeah, and that's the most comforting.
It's more exaggerated.
No, it's such a comforting sound, which is why I don't get the people who are like, oh, it's like sexual or whatever. You're the perverts, because it's just more about like.
Well,
it's just.
I think like okay, so as a consumer product, a thing that you're taking in, they're capitalizing on some internal need that you have. And if that is indeed like some sort of nostalgic, like wistfulness or some shit like that, I can get how it would not be sexual. However, I think that most of the people on the internet are huge perverts and only have sexual needs regarding the content that they watch.
I think there are a lot deeper needs than just because like reason I've been getting into it is because I need something to distract myself from the horror of the mundane world. So like just going to really comforting places like stirring the tea inside a teapot or the sound of a rocking chair or any of that stuff. It's like a comforting sort of thing. But then there are stuff like, it's like because we're quite empathetic creatures, like human beings. So if someone else is getting something done to them, whether it's pleasant,
I'm so empathetic, guys.
Shut up. Whether it's pleasurable or pain,
guys. Just so you know, I'm so empathetic.
Shush.
I don't know. I can't when I'm watching stuff. I sometimes feel the pain.
Shut up. Shut your face, Peter.
And I can't watch it. I can't watch it.
You're
when it's so
a huge
mean.
bully.
Yeah.
You're being.
Literally, that's what she said when I tried to get her to watch Chernobyl. Like, she's like, I'm an empath, Jake. I'm going to feel all of that stuff that those people are feeling. And I don't want to feel all that nuclear stuff.
I'm being dogpiled.
Outed.
I'm being dogpiled. I'm being dogpiled right now. It feels fucking awful, you fucking shitheads. No, but seriously, like, you get empathic shit from when you watch stuff. Like, if you see someone being stabbed,
It's true.
you feel that. But if you see someone being stroked, you also feel that as well. So there are people, they do like head massages on like dummies or whatever, and you can feel all of the tingles from the head massage that you're seeing.
Look, I didn't get that, but I did see something today that made me have good empath feelings, which was like seeing one of those positive internet stories. Wavy Web Surf did one on like this 90-year-old World War II veteran that like had just like a sign up saying it was his birthday in the local town, and then someone put it on 4chan, and then everyone flooded him with like gifts and cards and like all of this stuff just to like warm his heart basically on his 90th birthday. And it was just like, that is, I was literally nearly in tears. I was like, have I just woken up and I'm overly emotional?
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening right now?
No, Jake
Pull
has
yourself together, man.
Jake is very sentimental. You're like super sentimental, and he gets you say that I'm the cheesy empath. Whenever we watch a movie, he gets very involved in the emotions of like whatever's happening on screen.
It's called being engaged with a piece of media, Angie. Maybe you should try it instead of playing Woody Puzzle when we watch a film.
What are you playing?
why
Fucking. What is the game that you play? The I forgot the
Candy
name of
Crush?
the farm game.
Oh.
No, the farm game.
Oh, Animal Crossing.
You get onto the Switch and you start playing Animal Crossing.
I'm done. Animal Crossing is a dead meme to me now. I'm done with it. I'm not interested in it anymore. I'm bored of it. Unless they come up with a new update or something, I'm not interested.
There'll be a Christmas update and you'll be all about it again.
That's true, actually. That's true.
Yeah.
That's what I'm actually quite excited.
They'll suck you right back in.
Yeah, I'm actually quite excited for the holiday season because of all the ASMR sounds that I can harvest in order to create my ASMR channel, which I'm starting now.
Look, my judgment isn't that I think it's a sexual thing and I think that you're like jerking it in some like capacity. Even if it's
That's
like
a very good preface. It definitely sounds like that's not going to be your
Even if it's a
judgment.
no-hands jerk and it's something that just like allows you to sort of feel those sensations without touching yourself. Like, I don't know. Look, I don't know. That's not even where my judgment's coming from. That's not even where my judgment's coming from.
Stuff have to do with oh my God.
I just find looking at the videos, they look creepy. It looks creepy. People getting into it is kind of creepy.
No, it's good. I'm gonna start a new channel called Angie Whispers. That's gonna be the name of my new channel, and I'm just gonna like whisper.
My favorite ASMR that I always think about is this person eating onions. Like they're just like eating onions like apples. It was like the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. And it got like viral. Like people were like, look at this ASMR artist eating onions.
Who feels like relaxed by someone eating onions? That's very odd.
I wasn't relaxed by it. I was laughing my ass off.
There's definitely weird ones that are meant to fucking cater to some weird fetishes out there. That's not what I'm fucking into. I recommend the French Whisperer. He does ASMR stories.
That doesn't sound like not a fetish thing.
Oh my God. I recommend go on YouTube, the French Whisperer. He does ASMR stories where he tells stories about like mystical stuff or like cryptids or like history or like mythology.
La petite cryptide.
Yes, yeah, literally. He's like, let me take you on a journey. And I'm like, yes, take me on a journey. And he polishes furniture while he does it. And it's just so relaxing. It's just so relaxing.
So this is how we're going to diversify the low society media empires. You're going to become Angie Whispers and run a new ASMR channel.
Yes.
I'm going to run some sort of mukbang channel, eating disgusting foods in like large quantities and getting it all in my beard and then like picking out all the leftovers afterwards.
Ew.
People
and farting.
People would love that, yeah, and having a specific fart mic.
Yes, absolutely.
People actually watch that kind of stuff.
Dude, people watch all sorts of crazy shit.
Yes.
And in Korea, man, like they watch like there's people that watch like lady farts on the internet. That's definitely a thing. But in Korea, there's
a website called Cake Fart.
Yeah, that's even more specific.
It's just a woman farting on a cake. It's not. I'm sure it is a sexual thing, but it doesn't appear to be a sexual thing.
There was a series of those videos. It wasn't just an isolated incident. Apparently, it's definitely a thing.
I am only aware of it as an isolated thing.
It's definitely a thing, but no. So what's your thing going to be, Peter? Like I've got the mukbangs.
I don't know.
Angie's got the ASMRs. What do you think your niche, like new millennial YouTube trend should be?
The problem here is that the mukbang thing would be what I feel like would be easiest to do. Like you guys came onto the Zoom call. I'm literally shoving a Whopper in my face. I'm like,
no.
Hey guys.
No, I think that
you could do the food reviews, like that guy who just like sits in his car and reviews all the fast food. No. What's it? Oh my God! I can't remember his channel name, but he's like a huge YouTuber. Everyone's going to be like, "Oh, it's this guy" in the comments, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
No, I think that Peter should basically get like a killer pedicure and like paint your toes like red and do like foot fetish stuff. I think that's what your stuff should be. You should just like.
Well, I mean, I could probably make a fuck ton of money, even though I don't have like great feet or anything. Like, it's just anybody who does that seems to attract tons of people.
That's what all the people I've heard of who like get into foot modeling for foot fetishes stuff always make like so much fucking money.
I would actually love to get a foot model on the podcast and ask them to bust these myths.
We should
just to tell us what the fuck is going on over there.
Get the answers that everyone's really are after, because
I wonder what types of feet are like highly prized by the foot fetishists.
Ask Quentin, mate.
Quentin. I wonder if there's like a specific
Stinky.
Ew. I wonder if there's like a specific criteria.
No, I have to imagine stinky feet has to be a thing that they
It's got to
like.
be a category. I feel like
I feel like that's a thing, probably.
It probably is.
Like, there's not really a whole lot of things that a foot can be.
Yeah.
And stinky is one of the main things.
Yeah.
I feel like.
It's like one of those weird things that like the internet really enabled to become like a phenomenon of like obsession. And I feel like with ASMR, there's some of it that's just like there. It's like meditative. It helps you sleep and stuff. But there definitely is some of it that like fucking vultures down into like fetish territory. But like it's just fascinating, like the psyche of the internet for me, like, and how I always come late to these like little trends. I'm like, what's been going on over here, guys? I'm like the fucking awkward mum.
You'll I don't know, what's another trend from back then? You'll start like wanting to try and start a flash mob or something next.
Oh no, my flash mob days are behind me. Trust me, I did one.
Behind you? You did one? You've done a flash mob? That is the lamest thing you've ever confessed to me. And you give me shit for liking Star Wars and you've been in a flash mob?
Trust me, I've every type of cringe that you can imagine I've participated in.
Did you do what was the name of the one where they were all dancing? The Harlem Shake. Did you do the Harlem Shake?
I did do the Harlem Shake. Of course I did the Harlem Shake.
I had a feeling.
Oh my God.
You've posted so much cringe.
You've posted cringe, Jake. Do you want me to spill your tea about the cringe that you've posted? No. See? So be quiet. Be quiet.
I don't know what cringe you're referring to, but I don't.
Are you sure you don't want me to? Are you sure?
I don't want you to unleash any ammunition that I don't.
So be careful.
That I don't want let out the bag. Being on this podcast is a constant game of chess with Angie. Like you wanna have a joke and have some fun, but you don't want to poke the bear too much, because then she's definitely got some ammunition that could get unleashed at any moment.
I'm good humored. I'm good humored and I'm good natured, even though I can be a bit of a bitch sometimes. I'm not going to drag you, but if you push my buttons a little bit too much, then people are going to find out about your history. They're going to find out about your history, Jake, your history of cringe. But yeah,
you're gonna get people interested in Jake, and let's start trying to figure out who he is and how to find like this shit. Be careful.
I like that he's a bit of a mysterious, like, cloaked figure. I don't need I don't need you out there joining the mob, bullying me, Jake. That's because that's inevitably what would happen if Jake got Twitter. He would just be like, "Yeah, Angie, you're a bitch. You're a class reductionist." He'd be there with.
I would join the Twitter mob, and just like start coming for you.
You would, or you would like screen. You would feed them information. You'd like screen cap me like saying naughty things, and then like fucking send it to their fucking Discord servers or whatever.
Just record.
Takes a picture of you asleep on the couch.
Just record the audio of you being like, "No, babe, I don't want to order Indian food. It's smelly," and then being like getting cancelled. Yeah, this is why I keep Jake away from Twitter, because it would just be like him coming after me 24/7. It would be funny. Well, yeah,
it'd be a good bit.
We could be like the Gundam. We could unite together and be like a mega Twitter force with me, you, and Peter together to fight against the crazy fuckheads.
Oh my God! Imagining a Gundam of us is like fucking making me have a panic attack. It's bringing on a panic attack.
I feel like I would be the legs. For some reason, like I would be like related to the energy of things.
Did you put vodka in here?
No, I didn't put vodka in there.
Good.
God, what do you take me for? Some kind of alcoholic? No.
I would definitely be the head of the Gundam.
And Pete would be the chest.
Yeah.
And the arms.
And the arms too.
That would be both the chest and the arms.
Oh dear. Another thing that like has been on my mind has been my quarantine habits, because we're back in tier 3 lockdown here in the UK. Are you guys locked down in America at all?
No. We're never gonna be.
Is it just normal then?
Never gonna happen. For me it is, it seems like.
Wow.
I don't know.
So you're just going
like the news is trying to scare people, and the older people are getting scared again, but like nothing seems to be different as far as actual laws.
So people are just going into the shops and like chilling in parks and stuff, and
I guess. I don't know. I'm not really doing that stuff to see them doing that. So
like
I've been ordering groceries and like I just fucking hold up. I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah, we're in tier 3 lockdown, so we've been doing the same because everything's fucking closed again. And I'm in my like weed phase of quarantine because I stopped smoking weed for a long time because of mental health stuff. And now I've started again, and I'm just vibing. I'm feeling good. Like when you stop smoking weed for ages and you start again, you're like a virgin. So it feels like when I first got stoned when I was like 16, I'm getting those feelings again, which is really nice. And then what else have we been doing? We've been cooking quite a bit as well.
That's my thing, is cooking videos. And also there's this really nice place in America somewhere with this really nice, like, I think it's in the Midwest somewhere, where they just make hard candy sweets. And this guy just talks about the history of making different types of sweets and different flavorings and stuff. And he showed like that classic banana hard candy with the little banana inside it, like how they make it with the banana inside it. And then he just talked about like the history of bananas, and also like how we nearly could have a future with no bananas because of the sort of monoculture farming that we have, and the sort of flavoring of like banana sweets, how they were basically based on an old banana that people used to eat back in the 40s and 50s before the first like banana famine happened. But so those bananas are like super rare now. Yeah, basically like the common banana that we all used to eat used to be a different one, and then it got infected by this massive disease that went worldwide because that's the only the banana that most people were farming, and it nearly went extinct, and we had to engineer or like plant this like new type of banana that was more resistant to this type of, and that's the banana that we eat today. But that's also being like farmed in this monoculture. And I learned all of this just from like this silly little fucking video about hard candy from this like really sweet Midwestern man. So like that's definitely been like one of my favorite channels at the moment. It's super wholesome.
I've been trying to get crafty with it because you know that masterclass thing that they do where they get like different very skilled
Martin Scorsese to give away all of his like hot filmmaking tips.
Yeah.
He just like gets to sit down and stroke his own ego for 5 hours. Basically.
It's interesting. I don't know why you're hating.
This one trick will make you as good as Martin Scorsese.
Here's the trick. Films. Know these people that will give you money to make movies.
Shush. Okay. I'm trying to be here, better in myself, living my best life, but then I have Jake criticizing me at every turn. I'm not allowed to watch masterclasses. I'm not allowed to listen to Martin Scorsese talk about his filmmaking practices.
I'm not a naysayer at all. Watch those masterclasses. I watched the Dead Mouse one and was just thoroughly like, oh wow, yeah, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be.
What was it?
Garbage. It's just him being like, oh yeah, there aren't really any rules. I mean, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you wouldn't want to do this and this. Like, you know that Woody Brown character that I showed you? Where he was sort of like really taking the piss out of studio talk.
Yeah.
He kind of did that, but with more marketing language. Yeah. And it was just like, I really didn't need...
Well, I don't know. The right.
I'm glad I torrented it. Let's put it that way.
The writing and the filmmaking ones aren't as terrible. I mean, it's not as if they're super intensive, but there are like little tidbits of information that are useful, especially for writing. That's like the stuff I've been watching, stuff for writing, and like character building and all of that different stuff. Because I've been trying to get back into the swing of creative writing in quarantine, and also reading again for pleasure. And just generally like being present in the home has been nice, but it is kind of like you have to do something to keep yourself busy every single day. Otherwise you end up going mad and like crawling up the walls. But like, yeah, it's indefinite lockdown now. It's tier 3 and we don't know when. They're speculating it will be over by the end of November, but like no one really knows.
Well, I'm looking forward to the future phase of quarantine, which is going to be the cyberpunk phase. It's less than a month till cyberpunk, and I definitely feel like that is going to consume like a good chunk of my time in life for like, I'm hoping like at least a month or two.
No.
So we'll see.
That's going to upset me so much because I'm going to have no one to talk to because you're just going to be playing fucking cyberpunk.
I feel like the masterclass thing, I feel like that is like the ruling class version of that Squarespace site. That like, or Skillshare or whatever the fuck.
Can you just like not do class analysis for 5 minutes, Peter? Is it possible?
No. I feel like, well, I just feel like that masterclass shit, it's the same thing as Skillshare, except for like they have like much better production values and like it's the real actual expert telling you how to do it. Whereas the Skillshare shit is like some guy who's been doing it in his bedroom for a while. It's like, I could teach people.
See, I actually would argue that fact and say it's the other way around, where a lot of the time those masterclasses are fucking wank, and they know that they're going to get paid a good chunk of money to sit down and just fucking talk bollocks for however many hours, cut into however many segments. Whereas the person on Skillshare is actually trying to sell you the course to pay their bills, and is trying to actually make sure that you get the most from that, so you'll probably come back and buy another one. Like, I don't know. I haven't
watched either, to be honest.
I haven't watched any Skillshare, and I've only watched that. And I think I watched one episode of the Deadmau5 one, and was just like, "Fuck this." But
it sounds bad.
Yeah, no.
Like masterclass. Like everywhere I hear people talk about that show, it's always like it's just like really bad.
Sometimes it depends. Like I've watched some with some really interesting novelists, but then like for the film stuff, they'll have like Aaron Sorkin on, who will tell you about how he wrote like fucking, some shitty TV show or film, and that's like boring. Or they'll have like
The Social Network.
Yeah, or they'll have like fucking
I wrote The Social Network, and I had Jesse Eisenberg, who people know as the dollar store Michael Cera.
I don't know, Jesse Eisenberg scares me. There's something a bit sort of sociopathic about...
casting him as Lex Luthor was a good idea.
Yeah, he's frightening. Even in Zombieland, I didn't really buy him as a comedic kind of lead. I kind of...
As a nice fella?
Yeah, I was like, oh no, this guy's got he's got fucking school shooter vibes. He's got fucking creepy vibes.
He has super creepy vibes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, one masterclass I would definitely watch, and maybe even buy, would be like if John Carpenter did one on like composition for film, or like just composition in general, because it feels anytime I hear a piece of his music, I'm just like, snap, what is this? And then it's like, oh yeah, it's John Carpenter, of course, that's why. It just sets the vibe instantly.
Yeah, but the thing is, the format of masterclasses is what makes them shit, because they're not actually really giving you information. They're exploring the accolades of their career. And of course, there's some little tidbits in there that are interesting and that could be useful for you to sort of reflect on as someone who creates stuff. But for the most part, they're like, when I did my magnum opus, this is how I did it, and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I don't think it matters what personality is like in front of it. That's just how it's going to be.
Some of those things do exist in legitimately though, at least in some fields. I know when I went to NAMM, I went and saw Alan Parsons given he was doing a talk and whatever, and he produced like Pink Floyd and a number of like legendary. NAMM is like the largest music convention in the world ever. It's where all the new instruments and new software and all that stuff is announced.
Jake did not fight in Vietnam.
I didn't fight in Vietnam. I'm not that old.
Even though he looks like he may have.
Also, Alan Parsons did not fight in Vietnam.
Also, Alan Parsons didn't
just
fight
in case people are wondering.
Yeah, in Vietnam. He was at NAMM in 2020, and he was giving a talk about music production and stuff, but he does some music production masterclass where you can go and like produce a track with him at his studio for like, doubt you could do that now in COVID, obviously, but for like, it was like tens of thousands of dollars.
Just barreling into Alan Parsons' fucking house with COVID.
Yeah.
Hey, Alan, let's make our fucking track, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you could put a price on that now, to be honest, with all the restrictions. But so those sorts of things it's just crazy money. It's crazy. And I don't know to what extent, I mean, obviously it would be an amazing experience, but would it make you a gold record producer? Would you leave that knowing how to, make the next hit?
Yes,
I don't know.
It would make me into a gold record producer.
Music that I've been listening to in quarantine, I full on turned into my mom, and I'm like exclusively listening to like 90s R&B, Erykah Badu, fucking Jill Scott. It's not 90s, but Solange, like just black woman music, basically, like middle-aged black woman with a glass of wine crying about how all men ain't shit kind of music.
Out of that sector, I'll take some Belle Biv DeVoe, that shit, like Poison.
I didn't know that you were a
fucking
middle-aged
song
black
fucking
woman,
rips.
Peter.
I am a middle-aged black woman. Put on some Bobby Brown. My Prerogative. Like, that shit is fucking killer.
It's all those.
But I've been listening to... Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
And so it's all those Bumble Black Love adverts have been seeping into your subconscious and just been like and feeling the
I
vibe.
find that shit so like, okay, so there's this weird like ad. I don't know if it's in America, but it's on the TV in the UK, and it's like Bumble Black Love, and it's so fashy. Like, if it was white love, if it was the other side, if it was done the other, it would seem like ethno-nationalism. But it's like all these black people who are like, I just want to find me a good black man so that we can have black families and strengthen the black family and black babies and all this shit. And I was like, whoa, man, like, do people really, like, I understand that.
And it's got My Prerogative in the background.
Yeah, exactly. But like, it's perplexing to me that, because I know that people have preferences, you know, sexually, whatever, but I don't know, maybe it's because I'm smart that race is really that deep of a thing for people still. Like, not even just with white people, but also with people of color who are like, I would never bounce on some white peen.
I don't know about race mixing. Oh no, it's
Yeah,
not,
and
I don't
I'm
know
also-
about race mixing. It's
I'm-
more just like you're keeping.
yeah.
It's keeping stuff like, I don't know. Is it important?
I don't know, maybe for some people.
As a black person, is it important?
I mean, I feel like some black people feel like they didn't get to see, like, because obviously the black community has like been impacted by, you know, systemic racism, poverty, which obviously destroys families. So a lot of black people felt like they didn't get to see a functional black family, and they basically want to be the role model for that like functional black family. That's why Will and Jada put so much pressure on staying together, even though their marriage ended like fucking 15 years ago.
Despite entanglements.
Despite entanglements, yeah, basically.
You know what it is? I think I know what it is. It's their prerogative.
What have you been listening to in quarantine?
Fucking Royal Blood. Holy shit. Do you know that band?
No.
Yeah, they're an English rock band, aren't they?
I fucking love Royal Blood. It's a guy with a bass and a guy with drums.
Yeah.
And the guy, he splits the bass signal into two signals. Sets the octave one up and puts distortion on it and plays the guitar and the bass by just playing the bass. And it's fucking cool.
Nice. Very cool.
They just put out a song called Trouble's Coming, and it's a good ass fucking song.
I could just imagine you like there, like singing Troubles Coming at the top of your lungs, like just like fucking. What kind of music is it?
It's rock, but it's kind of like it's I would say bouncier rock. I guess.
Bouncy rock.
It's kind of, but I wouldn't call it like particularly nice sounding or dreamy sounding or any of the sort of pop conventions that are popular now. It is hard rock.
Is it like are they new? Or are they like a new band, or are they like an old band?
They've been around for a while. I want to say like 2014 was when they first came around. Yeah.
What else?
No, they're good though. I fucking love that band. They got 3 albums out, I think.
Jake has been listening to a lot of like, what have you been listening to? I've not even been paying attention really.
I've been like looking to try and complete my legal mixtape from my next Barry release. So I've been digging through a lot of old 80s J-pop and yacht rock and all sorts of cool like chill stuff, and a lot of like romantic soul music as well, just in my like casual listening time, and like crooner music, like old Dean Martin stuff and Frank Sinatra stuff. Still quite a lot of that. Yeah,
Jake like watched fucking Goodfellas or some shit, or what was it? No, it was like the comedian and
no, it was Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver, there we go.
Oh my god, the score for Taxi Driver, don't even get me started. What a score. Just what a film.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And then you were sort of super kind of like underwhelmed, but it's so good.
I was underwhelmed. That's the thing is people bum Taxi Driver. They think it's like the best movie ever made. But I don't know, I can't relate to it. And there are a lot of films that explore a specific kind of element of the male psyche that I just feel like I can't reach or like relate to, because this is a film about somebody who is completely dejected and completely sort of has no hope for place in society. And I feel like as a woman, because of your functionality, there's always going to be a place, and seeing something explored from someone who just doesn't have any sort of place, it's hard to relate to almost. And like, also, I thought that it was quite, I don't know, maybe because so many films have paid homage to it. And even though I hadn't seen it, watching it for the first time felt like I had already seen it in that regard. And a lot of those films that get sort of...
I have in your mind, like, because there's a lot of people who compare Joker to that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What are your thoughts on that specifically, like the comparison between Joker and that movie? Because I know Joker was a lot bigger of a movie for you than that description of that movie.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe because Joker was like a pastiche. It wasn't something that was asking me to take it seriously in the way that Taxi Driver was. And it's not in the sense of I couldn't relate, I didn't feel any empathy for the protagonist. It was the fact that the protagonist was sort of an unreliable narrator, so nothing...
Maybe you felt too much empathy for him.
I'm such an empath. It was like bleeding. It was bleeding through my chest. I couldn't help it. Well, no, it wasn't the fact that I didn't feel empathy for him. I did. It was just the fact that it was he was an unreliable narrator, so I didn't know what exactly on the screen mattered and what I needed to care about, because I didn't know what was real.
Well, I would argue that it's the same with the Joker, because you don't know if his missus is real or if what he's doing with his missus is real and all that sort of stuff. But that kind of...
Yeah, Joker fucks with you in that way, yeah.
That point aside, the Joker is a literal, like, you know, in Pineapple Express when he describes the two types of weed and then how that, if that baby fucked and that's the product of that baby, the Joker is literally the product of Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy. Those two films together equals just made with like, you know, Warner Brothers labels slapped on there somehow. Like that is the Joker. And so what the Joker takes from Taxi Driver is its sort of like somber tone and its sort of grittiness, and definitely in a lot of the sort of films in the camera angle style and like cinematography style, like I feel like it definitely takes a lot from that, because obviously it's a Scorsese film, which is what, and you were saying it's a pastiche, like that kind of vibe and style. But then the story definitely takes way more influence and inspiration from The King of Comedy in its trajectory, how the whole thing pans out, just his sort of like status as a person and that kind of thing.
But then again, I think my major issue is that with the Joker, it was obvious for me to tell what's wrong with Arthur Fleck. But with the protagonist of Taxi Driver, I kept thinking, what's wrong with this guy? And it's not obvious what's wrong with him. And that's what I mean is like a lot of the guys I know seem to get or resonate with it as if it's like they're looking at what they fear becoming. But I don't ever see myself becoming that. So I'm like, what's wrong with him? What led him here? What's the deal? What's happening? What's being told to me? Who is this person and what's their problem, basically? Which is what I find frustrating about.
We get a very specific narrative reasons for why Arthur Fleck is the way he is. And like there's a heavy sort of implication of just like class. Like I think that there's a massive amount of just like, hey, this person is like basically like nobody, he doesn't have prospects, and the thing with Taxi Driver is he is a taxi driver. It's kind of the context for his sort of personality is like speckled in right at the very end amongst some of the newspaper clippings and stuff that happens after he's sort of done that massive climax of killing the people in that brothel and everything. And it's sort of mentioned about him being a mob hitman in, what do you call it? Like ID protection or whatever you call it. Right.
And
Witness
protection. Yeah. And you know, obviously he was kind of then traumatized through all the killings and stuff he had to do for the mob, which is kind of why he has this really like dissociative thing with society, and he doesn't really know how he fits in. But to me, I think the relation that most young men feel to Taxi Driver is what like a lot of working class men feel, is like, especially if you've got like no education, no kind of prospects in that regard, like is that all you're going to really be able to do is low paid work for a lot of hours to just trying to get by, and it's the sort of acceptance to that, and then just like absolute like I'm going to do this crazy heroic fucking mental fucking story and make my life mean something, whilst I'm, because I don't want to, this is just going to be it for the rest of my life, otherwise just driving this fucking taxi.
What
and
you're
I'll be
saying
like
is
the old guy that you see in the, that he talks with, that he kind of sees as like the mentor or whatever, as the old taxi driver figure that he kind of talks to and stuff. And he doesn't want that for himself, which is like what a lot of, you know, working class people feel like.
Which is basically what you're saying, is that if Jordan Peterson had given him a copy of his book 12 Rules to Life, that he would have been okay.
But I feel like we're looking at it through this sort of jaded, cynical kind of 21st century post 12 rules.
Well, we were not born then.
Yeah, but
we
it's
don't
like,
know.
But it's like post 12 rules, post incel discourse lens. That's what we're looking at this film through, rather than just sort of taking it in for what it is. And it was very difficult for me to take the film in for what it was, because of all of those layers of prejudgment that are put in front of it. Whereas Joker, for some reason, maybe because it wasn't asking me to take it seriously, was able to sort of permeate those layers a lot. It was easier for me to permeate those layers a lot easier. But obviously, clearly not for a lot of other people, because a lot of people other people saw Joker and were like,
it's an incel anthem.
Yeah, basically. But even then, it's interesting to see that, and especially like how, and I'm always interested in the films that guys respond really heavily to, the ones that are really associated, like things like Fight Club, things like Taxi Driver, think The Matrix as well, like
Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah, Driving Miss Daisy. Well, things that are like considered like guys being dudes kind of films, like even mob films as well. Even something like Uncut Gems, these very sort of high stakes, very kind of like adrenaline filled movies about like achievement and risk and all of these different aspects. They give me a very interesting...
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street, yes. Those kinds of films.
That's one of those.
Those kinds of films is always interesting, because there's like a certain aspect of it that I just can't get into or relate to, but then I watch like a lot of the guys in my life like watch those films, and it speaks, I don't know what it speaks to within you, like.
So I feel like it'd be so interesting to like just sit down and have like whiskey or smoke with fucking Martin Scorsese, because he does seem to like tap into the male psyche in a way that I don't feel like a lot of creatives have in
He's just like
of ways.
Pops tons of Viagra and then writes.
Well, I don't know.
That's what he
he's
does.
covered so many of the different, like, well, you just named it, like, and you've just between the two of you, you just named so many different ones. So you've just done Taxi Driver, which is a completely different film on its own. Mob films, Goodfellas, all of those ones. Wolf of Wall Street, which is another totally different vibe. Yeah, he inspired Good Time and all of those other ones, Uncut Gems and stuff like that as well. So, you know, it's definitely. I would definitely love to sort of pick his brain in that regard as a creative, because I don't feel like there's another person that's really tapped into another, like the male psyche specifically. Like,
but it's because talking about psyche in a gendered way is prohibited these days. Like, you're not supposed to, for the reason that you don't want to essentialize people.
Oh, am I cancelled?
You're cancelled.
Are they popping off in the comments now?
Probably. You don't want to talk about it in a gendered way, because it's like what's it called? It can essentialize people, but there are baseline cultural things that have developed on male side and women's side, ways that we're socialized. And I feel like that's what these films explore, not necessarily like quote unquote the male psyche in this sort of essentialized.
They are films of pure ideology.
I wasn't trying to make it out in this essentialized way.
No, I know. I'm just saying for the benefit of the audience, because
I don't think it was a criticism of you.
No, you know how people are, like they get bent out of shape. But in terms of like different ideological and cultural patterns that have emerged, I find Martin Scorsese sort of he does definitely kind of is able to encapsulate that really well.
Sometimes I feel like I'm the Alex Jones on this podcast, and that you guys are like the live fact checkers, just being like, well, what he means there is murders.
Hillary Clinton is not an Oompa Loompa. I just checked. I just Googled it.
Oh my God.
I feel like...
She is a demon, though.
Yeah. I feel like I mean, across the other divide of this sort of cultural phenomenon, like rom-coms are something that I feel don't get enough of attention in terms of analysis either, because people think that they're fluff and that they're just for like...
But I thought analysis was something we weren't supposed to do all the time.
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about rom-coms because my favorite rom-com director is a molesty pedophile man.
Yeah, Jake really loves Woody Allen.
I do. I'm sorry. I think he's a phenomenal filmmaker. I think he's made some of the best romantic comedy films of all time.
The thing is, he's talented.
Yeah, he really is.
I don't know.
I mean, you can't say he's not talented.
He is, yeah. He's just molesting people is all.
Molest people.
Bad.
Specifically, like adopted daughter. That's such a fucked up situation.
Yeah.
That, like you.
It's not a good story.
But he's the
It's a
only
story that
person
you're like,
who's been able to say the Chad yes to the most heinous shit. Because when people asked him about his...
just like, I did molest them.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Literally, like he basically, they were like, oh, Soon Yi, your daughter, like you did like fucking groomed her. And he was like,
Yeah.
He was like, well, the heart wants what the heart wants. And it was like, dude, the only other time I've seen that sort of Chad yes is when Sean Connery was asked about beating his wife.
Oh, R.I.P. Rest in power.
He was asked about like, because he's had a lot of...
Rest in power.
What the fuck's wrong with you? He was asked about beating his wife or some shit or violence against him, and he was like, yeah.
And right after he said he beat his wife.
He was like, yes, if a woman gives you some trouble, you got to give her a little pop in the mouth. And I was like, what the fuck? Like it was like he walked out of some other era and he's completely blissfully unaware of the PC era that we live in. And he was just like, yes, you gotta give her a little schmack.
That's because everybody's afraid of getting hit by him.
He was a kid in he was born in the 30s.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So he was like, 15 or whatever in 1945 when the fucking war ended. So it's to say, like, make excuses for people, but he is from a different time. And when you look at the clip, it's not like, oh yeah, you just pop a woman in the mouth. He's like, he's trying to like, and there's no justification for it, but he's trying to be like, women persist, and then they know that you're not supposed to like do anything, so they and we're just saying let's leave it, and so they persist even more, and so when they do that, that's when I'll pop out and like put them out of their place.
That's like the whole like to the moon, Sharon, to the moon, or whatever the fuck.
Again, not saying I condone or agree with it. I'm just saying it wasn't as simple as him being like, oh yeah, you just give him a fucking smack.
He did.
He just give him a pop on the head with
There
a
is some nuance.
There's no nuance there. He basically was like,
See, when you see women, when women start to talk, what you do is just smack them. There's no reason to wait. You just often hit them in the face.
Oh my god, I'm imagining like Sean Connery, who like doesn't give a fuck about any of this PC shit, like versus Movie Bob.
He's just a hateful, like horrible man.
Just versus like Movie Bob or someone who's like really hypersensitive to that kind of shit. That would be hilarious to like watch.
Yeah, unless it's eugenics.
Dude, when you talk about like Hollywood stories, Sean Connery's like Hollywood story is just the most ridiculous fucking thing. And like there are some, he was like a Glaswegian street fighter, just like an like unbelievably handsome street fighter. But then, like, I can't even remember how he got picked.
Interesting detail.
Yeah, I think he then ended up being like, like a ruffian, like in the background of some picture or something like that, and then just like off he went. And you're just like, Jesus, that just happened to people. Like, that's crazy.
Someone coming up to you and being like, I'm making a movie picture.
Yeah, it doesn't happen,
and I want you to be a ruffian.
It nearly fucking did, mate. It nearly did. I was literally the first. What was it? Was it first or second trip in LA?
I noticed you off in the background of this film that I'm making. I noticed you off in the background. You're quite a handsome ruffian, I've noticed. Are you interested in perhaps a career in cinema?
Yeah, that I think we've told this story before, but that nearly happened to me when I was in LA. When me and Angie went to
the Jesus thing.
No. We just went for lunch, and I was rocking a handsome mustache back in January. So like I had a vibe going on for sure. I had these like tight denim pants. I had this nice like baggy kind of shirt. I looked very
It was like a
chill.
vaporwave shirt.
It was a pretty.
No, it was like a 70s.
It's actually like
paisley.
it's more of a Chandler Bing shirt. It's more of a shirt you'd see someone wear in the late 80s or the early 90s. But nonetheless, I had a vibe going on. And he just looked at me as we sat down for lunch. And he was like directing some movie that was based in the 70s and was like, "You ever do any work? You look great. You look like you're just off the set of my movie. I'm doing a movie in the 70s here. Look, this is like you just introduced us to some chick he's like clearly trying to fuck, and he's like taking up for lunch that's like 30 years younger than him.
Yeah, she was like my age, and I was just like sitting there awkwardly, like hi.
And then like he just starts chatting to me about like wanting to get to know me and like getting my details and like acting like he's gonna follow up, like trying to cast me in some sort of picture.
He was trying to impress the 20-year-old that he was trying to like take home. Basically, it was because he talks to me. He was like, "What do you do, sweetie?" And I was like, "Oh, I do like YouTube." And he was like, "Oh, you do the YouTubes? You do the YouTubes? I hear that's where all the action is happening these days." And he like asked me what my channel was and stuff. But then as soon as I said I talk about politics, his face went cold, and he was like, "I'm not interested in having this conversation with you anymore. Goodbye."
At this point, I gotta say, I'm gonna retreat off of this one. Let's talk about your mustache some more.
That's just my life. That's like me in real life.
Fox will be interested, but no one else.
No one else. No one else. No, it's weird. I've never had that kind of experience before. And it was like surreal, but some people's careers are made and broken that way. So maybe we need to move to LA and get Jake like out and about, get you shaking that money.
Get me out and about, give me a few grand to buy some outstanding outfits and just work my stuff out and around on the pier, out and around getting lunch at these fancy places. And I'll fucking
just sitting around.
I'll yield results. 100%. I'll yield results. This is what
putting out the vibe, hanging around the park benches with your hands all like.
This is what the Patreon support is going to go to. Okay, it's going to be so we can support me and Angie getting out to LA, so that I can make the connections to make a low society TV show for us all to do. You know, that's
gonna just. It's gonna be like pure vibe. You're gonna get a career as a viber.
Mate, that's an actual thing. A vibe consultant.
Vibe consultant.
Vibe consultant.
Official vibe consultant. Work. I mean, being a music consultant is kind of being like that. It's kind of a vibe consultant.
Basically a vibe consultant. Yeah.
That's another thing that I've been like upset about in quarantine, is that I've got nowhere to wear my fashion to at this point. So I've been like overcompensating on live streams. And I just did a live stream with you yesterday, and I realized that I fucking look like the trad wife, Wojak. Like that green, like puffy thing with the flowers on it. And I had like a headband on as well. And I literally looked like the trad wife, like Wojak. And like, I realized that a lot of my looks look a bit sort of like fancy gentleman's trad wife. And I think that that's my aesthetic. And I think I just need to lean into it like really heavily.
Literally in the background, I was there playing video games with my hench beard with my headphones on, and someone like zoomed in on my head.
Okay,
and went,
so
yes,
I just want to talk about that for a second. I did not want to talk. Okay, the entire stream, like it was a serious stream where we were talking about stuff that actually has heft to it, and like the entire time I had to like really set a boundary for myself. I'm not going to constantly comment on what Jake is doing. Because I was paying so much attention. Like you kept changing games and shit, and I was just like paying attention to the game really bad.
I had a bad game on Squadron, so I quit out of that, and I was playing Everybody Loves Golf. I was like just chilling, getting high, playing Everybody Loves Golf, and then I like took my headphones off and realized how intense the conversation was with you guys, and I was just like, you know what? I'm actually going to
put the headphones back on.
I'm going to stay on this vibe and try and set an example that this is how everybody should be kind of vibing right now, instead of getting all intense on Twitter.
I need like a new age hobby to occupy myself with. ASMR is a bit, it's fine, I've done crystal gazing. I've done all kinds of different things. I think sound baths are going to be my new thing. Sound baths, you can hire like sound bath consultants online that will give you like sound baths on Zoom for like $9.99 or whatever for like half an hour. And I think that that's going to be my new age hobby.
I can give you a sound bath.
What is a sound bath?
So they get like these massive like Tibetan singing bowls made out of crystal. And like each one corresponds to like a chakra.
It's like micro-tuned drones, basically.
Yeah.
Micro-tuned long drones, which I could make you and just play you out of the speakers.
No, because they're not made from a good, loving
I can make
place.
you make it sound like that. I
No,
can make
but it has to come from like your chakras to my chakras. It has to come from
You need specific frequencies to vibrate.
Yeah,
at.
you need.
I can do all of that. I
don't
can
think
do
you
all
can.
of that.
It sounds like a very frequency-oriented thing to me.
Why don't you just get into baking and then we've got something nice to eat afterwards?
No, because every time I have baked for you, you've insulted my baking skills or rated it.
Now, let's talk about that apple crumble
Oh my
conversation
God.
that I still vividly remember.
One of the patrons brought that up because I think they were a bit behind on our bonus episodes, which you can access for only $5.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm still searching.
By the way, that's probably my favorite bonus episode,
Yeah.
just to quickly clarify.
It's definitely a good
That
one.
is burnt into my head.
It's definitely a good one. I'm still looking for the prime crumble for sure.
Wait, no, you have to explain to them. So basically, Jake always insults. Jake always insults my attempts at apple crumble, and every time, because he's such an edible freak, whenever I make him apple crumble, he's like, "This will never be as good as my mum's apple crumble, Angie. Poor effort. Try harder next time," which obviously hurts my feelings.
He
because
tries to give pointers.
He does.
That's the thing that I like.
You make something from someone out of love and just like here, enjoy it. And then he's like, actually, this could use a bit more cinnamon, or this could use a bit more whatever.
He's like fucking.
Like Chef Ramsay.
Come on
He's
now.
like a
You're like fucking Chef Ramsay.
Come on
Paul
now.
Hollywood coming in with the like really intense commentary.
Like, I feel like I'm being, I feel like I'm being put under like fucking British Bake Off pressure whenever I try to bake you a fucking snack, which is why I just don't do it.
This is good, Angie. The flavors are there, but it's just a bit dry.
And he says it.
I think it's just a bit dry.
He says it with this like I'm disappointed like tone in his voice that just pierces into my soul.
Look, it's not that. It's that I'm trying to make you understand why it's not amazing, because you seem to have this like
You trying to mansplain the apple crumble
No, it's
to
not
him?
mansplain it, but it's like you have this dumbfounded reaction, like, how could you say that? How is this not just as good, if not better than your mum's and your nan's apple crumble? Like, my mum and my nan that have been making apple crumble for 20, 30, 40 plus
You're
years.
not even supposed to be.
Just remind me to wind you up about this like repeatedly all the time.
No,
This
you're
is my
not
favorite
supposed to
fucking thing in the world.
compare it. It's apple crumble that was made for you with love, and that's what fucking matters, you asshole.
I'm only human, love. We're all gonna. It's just what's gonna happen, isn't it? And you're an important woman in my life that's given me crumbles, so of course it's gonna only
It's
get
funny to
compounded.
me now.
If I go to a restaurant and have apple crumble, I'm not. Even then, I'm comparing it to my mum's apple crumble because that's still the best apple crumble that I fucking had at home, and I'm paying money for that apple crumble. So I'm still comparing it.
Okay.
So, like, you know,
I'm gonna wind you like every time. I will wind you up about this
It's all good.
repeatedly as long as I know you.
And like, you know, it's just, it's more just your.
Get hurt. And no one ever cares about how I feel about the apple crumble that I make being critiqued mercilessly.
he's like, give the mic
I
back.
do care. I care so much, which is why I give you the pointers. Which is why I tell you.
Fucking pointers. I did ask you for fucking pointers, okay?
He's trying to leave breadcrumbs so you can find
Literally.
your way back from the gingerbread house.
Literally, he wants me to like ask his mom, like go to his mom's house for a week and like understudy her in her kitchen. Like, you need to make more money, Jake, if you want me to
put an
try
offering on the altar.
Look, I'm not asking that. But you'll make a crumble with tinned fruit and packaged crumble mix, and then be like, why is your face not dropping to the floor like with amazement?
Oh my God!
It'd be like, well, because it's a packaged crumble. Like,
Dude.
of course it's nice, thank you. But it's a package.
I will never bake for you. I will never, ever bake for you again. This is not funny. I will never bake for you.
How often have I made you a roast with a
Oh
rotisserie
my God, it's
chicken?
so funny to me though.
You know, fucking never, because that's not the fucking goal, is it?
How does rotisserie
I'm
chicken
just saying. I'm just trying to make a comparison. You know, if it's a rotisserie chicken, but
Sorry,
you got
I'm
to make
just-
the trimmings, versus if it's a packaged crumble and you got to put it together
Rotisserie
and stick it in the
chicken's
oven.
really
I
good,
feel
though.
like yeah, but at the same, I can make a better chicken than a rotisserie chicken at home. That's the point. If I put the care and the love into it, I
suppose.
can make it a much better chicken. But if I'm quick and I'm just trying to do a quick gesture for goodwill, then that's fine. I get the rotisserie chicken. But a deeper care and a deeper love and a deeper
my
attention
God.
to detail
Jake.
is all I'm saying.
That's what this is about. That's what this is about. This is the emotional blackmail. It's like, you don't love me if you don't fucking make the fucking apple crumble perfectly to my liking, and you expect me to be able to intuit all of your needs like I'm your fucking mother, and it's not cool.
I'm just saying, look, Binging with Babish is on YouTube.
If you
Everyone
don't
can
follow
watch
the
it.
proper channels and get the proper information.
Yeah. You know? It's all there. And I've even told you just in conversation.
Knowledge is power, Ange.
What those tips are to take your crumble to that point where I'm like, this is now a crumble that satisfied every level.
I'm fucking crying
of me.
again off of this shit.
Oh my God. Okay, we have to stream it. We have to stream me trying to make Jake the ultimate
yes.
apple crumble.
You-
Like, we should do it and see if I pass the test. If I pass the crumble test, we should make that a thing for
It's
the patrons.
the Great Low Society Bake Off.
yes,
Definitely.
yes.
Again, I really think that we do need to dress up Jake as Paul Hollywood. This has been said elsewhere, but
Well, Peter, you're definitely closer to Paul Hollywood than me.
You
You just got
I could more easily pull
You've
it
got to
off.
get a nice shirt and just trim the side
Yeah.
parts of your beard, just make it into a goatee, and you're there.
Yeah,
you
so
need
it's
you just need
this.
the tan as well, the tan, because he's like,
you need orange tan.
Yeah.
you need the orange tan.
Well, I just have to get like extreme spray and just go.
Oh my
like-
God.
He's so much darker than me.
Are you this particular about desserts, Peter? Are you this fucking like mean about it?
I just shoved like a Whopper into my face like not long ago. You saw the tail end of
I
it.
did.
I don't care.
You
at
did
all.
say that there are certain cakes that are too sweet for you, which is just like old man AF.
It's true though.
Which ones are you
there are
talking
certain
about?
cakes that are too sweet for me.
Which ones are you talking about?
Well, it kind of depends on how it's more in how it's made than like exactly what. Because I could eat a chocolate cake and think that it's fucking amazing, but I could also eat a chocolate cake that's like way too sweet in my opinion.
What do you need? Like something like bitter to sort of like balance out, like a salted
Yes,
caramel.
I prefer some. I kind of I like a little bit of a salt taste in desserts. Which is again very old man sounding.
A Werther's original cake.
Well, yes, I believe that it'd be quite nice if this had a little more salt in it.
You're like one of those like cured meat molds, like in the gelatin.
Ew. Oh dear.
That's disgusting.
That is really gross.
I would never eat that.
It's just like,
even though it's just I have trouble eating gelatin. Like it makes me like gag,
same.
and like most of the time I puke when I eat
yeah,
gelatin.
same here. I don't like the texture at all.
I feel like kids today are spoiled. I don't feel like many kids are eating jelly and ice cream for pudding today.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? But that was like a staple pudding
was.
for me growing up as like as someone that didn't have a lot of money and whatever. Like it was jelly and ice cream.
Yeah.
And just even the texture of that would probably send you west now.
Yeah, it would.
But even to me, it would just give me nostalgia. And I love that texture of jelly.
My brother.
I like the instant pudding.
Which one is that one?
Oh yeah,
The instant chocolate
like
pudding.
Angel Delight and
It's
stuff like that.
Oh,
cheap and
yeah.
it's awful. It's like a powder. You put milk in it,
Yeah.
and you put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
That shit's delicious. I assume that's probably like the bottom of the barrel, but I think that's delicious.
I was
shit.
like really stoned on my first night in LA this year, and when we went to where was it, Vons or wherever the fuck, to go grocery shopping to get snacks, I saw they had banana pudding, and just made the biggest fucking bowl of it, and then like ate
You
it.
ate like the whole bowl.
I got my belly was not right after that.
It was like a fucking mixing bowl.
Was it good? Because I've never had that.
It was like that fake banana-y taste that I was describing in the video that he was talking about is very pungent. So it's like not, if you eat a little bit of it, probably like a normal size little cup of it, it's probably like very nice. If you eat like a cereal bowl full of it.
You didn't do that though.
No, I didn't. I ate a cereal bowl full of it.
I like rice pudding. Rice pudding is my favorite.
Rice pudding's good.
Like rice pudding instantly turns me into a toddler. Like I get so fucking excited about it because I've loved it since I was like really little. And like in nursery school, they used to give it to us with like a dollop of jam on top of it. And it was just like, I would get so happy, and I still get really happy whenever I eat it. It's so good.
Well, you're making me rice pudding tomorrow, aren't you, for the roast?
And I feel
I'm looking
so
forward
much.
to this.
Yeah, I feel so much pressure. Like Jake's like, this better be the best fucking rice pudding I've ever fucking tasted. You fucking bitch. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
It probably will be. You've made several things that are the best version of that I've ever tasted in my life. The fried chicken you make at home is
racist.
the best.
That's racist, Jake. That's so fucking racist.
I was waiting for that.
That's so racist.
As soon as he said fried chicken, I was like,
racist piece of shit. How dare you say that my fried chicken is the best fried chicken?
Just you season that shit so good.
Oh my god, yeah.
You put the fixins on it.
You're joining in. This is fucking racism.
Fuck it.
About it like that. Look, I didn't even think about it like that. I just said the first tasty thing off my top of my head that you make that's really good. Mac and cheese, the best mac. You make the best mac and cheese. You make the best fucking char siu pork. You make the best fucking spag bowl.
Fried rice.
You make the best fried rice.
I make the best pot roast.
You make. I mean,
winter stews.
I could challenge you for the winter stews.
I make the best winter stews, and you know it.
I could challenge you for that title,
you
but
don't.
you do a good job of that as well.
I make really good Chinese food.
You do excellent Chinese food.
Like my char siu pork.
It's amazing.
Rivals, like fucking
Restaurants.
Chinese chefs.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's very good.
I'm really good at making Chinese.
You are very good at making that. I'm not taking that away from you. But that's why I know you're capable of taking on those pointers that I talk about.
Because my cooking comes from my heart. It's intuitive.
You're capable of getting the handshake, Angie. You are capable of getting the handshake. You just have to take on the criticism.
No, I refuse because my cooking is intuitive and it comes from my heart, which is why I don't like baking because you have to be really like regimented and measured. Otherwise you fuck it up. But when I cook char siu, that char siu comes from
And you make
my
that
soul.
sauce from scratch. And if you opened up a tin of char siu sauce and dumped it in a tin and it's some pork that you chopped up and then just left it, and I would be like, oh, okay, that's that then, isn't it? That's the same treatment you give the crumble. So I'm saying, yeah, it's because you get packaged fruit and you get packaged crumble, and then it's the same. If you put as much care into your char siu pork as you put into your crumble,
Other way around.
I mean,
Other way around.
if you put as much care into your crumbles you put into your char siu pork, you'll be fucking winning, mate.
You want me to like fucking peel the peaches?
Yes.
And you want me to fucking caramelize the peaches?
Yes.
And you want me to fucking make crumble pastry from scratch?
Yes.
And you want me to bake that shit?
Yes.
That's long.
And then I want you to whip sweet cream.
you want me to hand whip cream?
We've got a machine, so it's not as hard on your hands anymore.
But
is
you
it?
know that it makes mess.
Well, only a little bit. Only if
just so everyone knows, this is just one long advertisement for the bonus episodes.
It is.
That's basically what this episode is.
This was like a condensed version of that bonus episode.
No, it's like a very long, not condensed version of a bonus episode.
What's your signature?
We're at like over an hour
What's
now.
your signature dish, Peter? What do you make very
I can't
well?
make it. I can make steak.
Yeah.
Oh.
Go on.
Okay, so and I don't put any love at all into this. I use a premixed seasoning, but I make chicken that I put Cajun seasoning on, and it's fucking delicious. But it's not. It's like paprika and pepper and I don't really know exactly what's in it, but it's fucking delicious.
You see, because I'm dealing with two white people, there's nothing racist that I could say to you about your best dish. But I get dunked on with the fried chicken thing.
Also, I season my food. I'm not like you could in theory maybe make fun of me for not seasoning food, but you can't because I season my food.
I bet your seasoning isn't like proper seasoning. It's still white people levels of seasoning.
Well, I'll say I'm not going ahead and like, checking exactly what I'm doing or know what I'm doing for that matter.
I would say, well, my signature dish, like if I was on like a cooking show and if I wanted to make something with confidence that I knew was going to impress people, it would be salmon en croûte.
Yeah.
Because I know I can make that really well, and it's fucking delicious.
I mean, you have to cook for kids and shit. And when I was babysitting, when I first graduated from uni, I had to cook for the kids, and kids are a fucking nightmare to fucking cook for because they don't like anything. And even if they do like it, they'll say that they don't like it so that they can get something else that's like...
Yeah, and on top of that, you can make it and then they won't eat it, even if you've known that they like it. Yeah. It doesn't matter. That's what I did. Yeah, I made spaghetti yesterday. They're like, oh, make spaghetti. So I did, and then they didn't eat it.
What about turkey dinosaurs?
It was literally about...
potato smiley faces and peas, mate. That was like the go-to. Well,
that's why you end up making all this fucking frozen food, because it needs to be cheap and disposable, because half of it they're not going to fucking eat.
Yeah, it sucks.
And I don't understand why, as a kid, like kids' palates are so fucking like not like sophisticated. Like even like kids who you would expect to have a little bit more of a sophisticated palate, like 7, 8, 9-year-olds, they still just want to eat fish fingers and chips all the time.
I don't know. I'm not like a fucking child behavioral psychologist or whatever, but I do feel like it's the sort of thing that you can at least like not cave into so much and guide it a little bit more. Do you know what I mean?
No, wait till you're a parent. Like I had to deal with it with...
Please give me sugar. Just sugar. Just give me a pile of powdered sugar and I will eat it. That is what I would like.
Yep. Like when I was babysitting, I couldn't deal with it. Like
you didn't have the authority though. When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to get up from the dinner table unless I finished my vegetables. It didn't matter. I didn't like broccoli or whatever. That's just the case of it.
My kids aren't like
fully
that.
Stay at home. Didn't you have like a full-time stay-at-home mom though?
No, my mum worked full-time because we were fucking poor. We didn't.
How the fuck did she have time to sit there yelling at kids to eat their fucking vegetables who are being stubborn and crying? Like I wouldn't put up with that shit. I would just be like, if you want to get
energy, forget time. Energy. How do you have fucking energy?
I'd be like, if you want to get scurvy, you can get scurvy if you don't fucking eat your vegetables.
You don't have to sit at the table, mate. Like the kitchen's like here. I would have to walk through the living room to go up to the stairs to go to my bedroom, and they're chilling in the living room. So I'm going nowhere. I'll have to either sit in the kitchen or go to the living room, where they'll tell me to go back in my kitchen and finish my vegetables, or try and go to my room where they'll see me on the way and tell me to go and finish my vegetables.
Because your dad had like has a very imposing Alex Jones presence, which is why you obeyed. But the thing is, you don't have an imposing presence. You're soft as shit. So your kid would like fucking cuck you really easily. They'd be like, no, Dad, I'm not doing what the fuck you say. Get the fuck out of my face. And you'd be there like fucking dumbfounded.
Yeah, but then you've seen me when I get mad.
I have to resort to like surveillance and shit, setting up GoPros everywhere.
You've seen me when I get mad and I lose my shit. I think if I just did that once in front of my kid, they would be like, I'm like not gonna push him to that point again. And I'm terrified.
Kids are difficult, man. There are some kids that are just bays, little badasses that just don't give a fuck. Like I've worked with kids like quite a bit, and there are some kids that no matter how like you try to get with them, they just like don't give a fuck. So you have to try and compromise. And like
that would be the younger of my two children. Acts like that.
She's like, no.
She is just a chaotic presence. She is absolutely like, they try to act like the little boys are the troublemakers. No. Like no. That is not a thing that my older one is so much has been like was docile like until he turned like 5, and then he became a bit rambunctious. But like the 3-year-old right now, she is just on a constant tear. Like at bedtime now, what she does is climb up my head and like kick me.
I've seen it
repeatedly. Yes. When we were having a meeting that one time, she fucking did it. Like that shit goes on at night. Not just like when it's time for bed, like it's like, okay, I'm going to put you to bed now. It's time for you to sleep. And it's like, nope, going to climb up your fucking head and like destroy your neck.
It's funny though because like I feel like you know there's all those stereotypes about how like little boys are rambunctious and they'll like destroy your house, but your daughter is like the stereotype of that, basically. She's like the rambunctious one, which is like really funny
Yes,
to watch.
exactly.
That happened with some of the kids that I've babysat, where the girls have been absolute fucking terrors. And then it's even worse when there's two of them. And then the boy is always like quite docile and like quiet and just like sticks to his own thing or whatever.
Kids are wild, man. I remember when like my cousin was younger, she must have only been like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or like, you know, kid, like small child age. But she straight up like fucking bit my brother's girlfriend's tit.
What?
At like when we were at a meal.
What?
Like for having a Chinese for like, I think he had come back from like the military or something, and we were having a meal for his birthday, or just for the fact that he was back, or for the, you know, finishing his training or something. It was a congratulatory meal. Everyone was having a great time, and the extended family were invited. And then, yeah, at some point she just started acting up, and then was like talking to my brother's new missus that was like, you know, a dancer at Ibiza or whatever, and she just bit her tit.
What?
Yeah. It was hilarious. You should have seen my dad. Oh my God, yeah. I must have only been like, I must have been like 13 or 12 or something. Not even that, maybe. I was like 11 or something. I remember being pretty young when this happened.
Hard, as in like or playfully? Or
No, like aggressively, like to you know, like to
Angrily?
yeah, like in I can't remember what it was. Like she had said, like I think maybe my cousin had said like something a kid would say, like this is the answer to something, and then you know the girlfriend had gone, you know, it's not that, it's this, and then she's gone, no, it wasn't it. They just like jumped in and like gnashed in. Gnashed in.
Oh my God,
yeah.
that's fucking insane. Like
It was.
no, that is the answer. I'm going to bite your tit.
Yeah. I mean, and then
Yikes.
Oh my God, yeah. And that was like, oh my God, that was the same Chinese dinner where my other cousin introduced her boyfriend, and his name was Merlin. And like obviously like, you know, in my dad and like yeah, like that and my family, that obviously everyone had some tongues bitten for
Who
a period
the
of
fuck
time.
names their kid Merlin?
Well, I think that wasn't his. That wasn't his actual name. That was the sad bit. I think his actual name was Stephen, but he introduced himself as Merlin, which was the sad thing, because he used to collect a lot of those
that makes
Merlin
it
trading
much
cards.
worse. That does
Yeah.
not make it better.
It is way worse, and it's like that's my nickname to all of like the people I shot to. So that's what my girlfriend's family can call me, and it's like, dude, no one's going to call you Merlin with a straight face around this fucking table.
If my son brought a girlfriend home and he was like, my name is Dragon King or something, I'd be like, you caught yourself a good one. I'd be proud of her.
It was like Anakin.
I tell him to GTFO, we're not a Star Wars family.
They're like, what's your name? And he's like, I'm a person and my name is Anakin.
Oh, well, this has been a very chaotic episode of Low Society. We wanted to chill and not talk about anything too heavy, especially because it's been a pretty heavy couple of weeks. We hope you enjoyed our ramblings, and like we said, this is kind of an ad for the kind of bonus content you get. So if you want to get access to our funny, fun bonus content, then pledge a couple of dollars on Patreon. Be sure to be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, be sure to share, tell your friends, tell your family. Visit lowsociety.net.
Lowsociety.net.
Yep, lowsociety.net, and also our Reddit, where you can post funny memes.
I don't know why we keep all this fun, chilled, laid-back vibe just for the bonus, to be honest. I want to inject more of this into our main episodes every now and then. It's good times and good fun.
We're still finding ourselves as a podcast, finding the right balance of nonsense and interesting political stuff. So episodes like this are...
There's no such thing as interesting political
No.
stuff.
We're still in
nerds.
the low show phase. We haven't quite evolutionized into the low society experience yet.
Well, on that note, we shall...
We're refining it for the live show that we'll eventually do.
Yes.
Take it on the road.
Yes.
And everybody will have a great time every time they come out.
Well, on that note, we shall catch you later. Talk to you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
So.